Welcome back to Gothic Homemaking. Earlier in this spooky season, my lovely fiancée Mayumi Toyoda and I showed you some of the very best Halloween home decor out there in part 1 of this video. And we promised you a part 2, and here it is!
Yay!
Again?
Do it!
Now, believe it or not, I have been doing these Halloween home decor haul and reviews here on Gothic Homemaking since 2017.
Wow!
Yeah, it's been a while. If I've learned anything from doing these, it's that some stores put out their stuff earlier than others. Hell, some of them put out their Halloween offerings as early as June or July. Do you remember which was the first store to put out their Halloween offerings this year?
Yeah, at home?
At Home. At Home typically is the first to put out Halloween. Usually followed by Home Goods, and then
TJ Maxx and Marshalls.
TJ Maxx and Marshalls, followed by Ross. That's usually the way it plays out in the early part of the season. And when I say early part of the Halloween season, I mean summer. Now, this year, I think due to COVID-related supply chain issues, a lot of the stores seemed to take them quite a bit longer to put out their Halloween offerings, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I recently did a collaboration with a Gothic icon. No, not Elvira, dummy. You sure you don't mean you want Elvira?
Yeah.
Is that why you made me buy that painting that hangs ever so lovingly in your corner? Yeah, well, maybe one day the Mistress of the Dark will grace us with her presence on this show. But this collaboration was with one of our favorite spooky YouTubers, Jade the Libra. Back on August 6th, I went to a Joann's in Kansas City, Missouri with none other than fellow spookster Jade the Libra to film our Halloween haul videos. However, upon entering the store, there was no sign of Halloween. There were a few cute items here and there, and some kitchen towels that were not quite right for the lair, but mostly what we found were empty shelves everywhere. I would have expected to have seen some Halloween at Joann's by then.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, it wasn't until 2 months later on October 2nd that we finally saw Halloween arrive at Joann's, in of all places, in Kissimmee, Florida.
Yeah. Take a look.
On October 2nd, the Joann's in Kissimmee, Florida was much better stocked. There was much more Halloween goodness, but there was still a lot of empty shelf space. This location did have a much better selection of kitchen towels though. This gray and black one with crows is just perfect for my Gothic kitchen, and, well, I try to avoid towels with slogans on them. This one reminded me of Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. And I thought this one would be perfect for my Gothic bathroom. And proving that rules are made to be broken, I like the design on this one so much that I didn't even care it had writing on it. I really like the skull and the fringe. Ultimately, I settled on these 3 designs, and so it begins. Into the cart they go. I spotted this wonderful spider pillow that reminded me of one I found at Home Goods, but what really lured me into its web was this candy dish. It was simple and sleek and made of metal, and it was priced accordingly. Nonetheless, into the cart it went. Turning around, I spotted this elegant item featuring 2 skeletons holding up a bowl. This piece is really a step above of what I was expecting to find, and it's really sleek and sturdy, and it was made of metal. Joann's really seems to be stepping up their game. And with the higher quality material came a higher price. They also had these wonderful vases that featured metal skeleton hands, and with the purple frosting on top, it was really perfect for the lair. But I just didn't think it would survive the flight back to New York City in my suitcase, so I had to Kissimmee it goodbye and leave it at a Joann's in Florida. About an aisle or 2 away, as the crow flies, we found this lovely metal crow, which would be nice for those of you who have, you know, a backyard. There were pumpkins with spiders and pumpkins with bones, but I was mostly drawn to these little ones. My creepy Christmas tree is going to be black and white this year, and I thought I could make some lovely ornaments out of these little pumpkins. And these velvet ones are gonna look great against the branches of my white tree. Always thinking ahead. Now I'm always on the lookout for cauldrons that don't have a goofy slogan or bright colors, or are made of plastic. So when I find one that's ceramic and all black, I snatch it up. I'll just have to take my chances that it survives the trip back to New York City in my suitcase. Maybe I can stick it in something to protect it, like a giant skull. Now that's using your head. We weren't out of the woods yet. In the Shivers and Slithers section, there was some new pumpkin concepts, but I practically lost my gourd for these two on the end. Just next door, there were some cute Halloween serving trays, and much to my surprise, they weren't plastic. These were ceramic, as were these. And the frames were metal. And while all of these designs are too cutesy for my home, I really appreciate the use of higher quality materials. But again, that reflects in the price. This spooky chips and dips serving tray made my spidey senses tingle, but I really needed to give a hand to these small plates. The austere skeletal design is exactly perfect for serving a midnight snack at the Lair of Voltaire. Just the right time and place. So, into the cart they went. We passed the guardian of the gates of hell to enjoy some of the kitschier Halloween offerings. And while they may be a bit fishy for me, I still like to muck about with the psychedelic skulls and lazy bone skeleton statuettes. At the tail end of our shopping spree, we passed the baking section where they had new silicone mold designs. The bats and spiders are cute, but I get the most use out of these tombstone molds. You can see me use those in my cemetery dirt parfait video right here on this channel. I can fill these with chocolate or make black ice cubes or fill them with resin to make graves for my cemetery model. I found these haunting soap dispensers at the checkout line and picked up this fabulous black skull for my bathroom. Pumpkins danced and skeletons squealed and onlookers asked, "Hey now, what's the deal? It's our job, but we're not mean. We're just like really into Halloween." We really are though, aren't we?
Yes.
But I think you might be more into spooky Christmas. Am I right? Is that your favorite holiday?
No.
No?
First Halloween.
Halloween's your favorite too?
Yes.
Well, Halloween on the scene. I'm into it. I'm all about it. But you know what Candy Claus would say about Halloween and Christmas, right? Why not both?
Of course.
Well, I clearly love Halloween the best. It's my favorite horror day. But you know what I love about Creepy Christmas? What? No, clown. The nutmeg. The nutmeg. The eggnog with nutmeg, the warm cider with nutmeg, the horror harvest pies with nutmeg, and all of those warm, creepy, Christmassy snacks.
Delicious. Snacks?
Anyway, one horror day at a time, am I right?
Yeah.
Creepy Christmas can wait. And speaking of waiting, boy, did we have to wait for Michael's to put out their Halloween offerings this year.
Oh, yeah.
We went every week for a couple of months, and there was always so few things that we couldn't tell if we were there too early or too late.
Yes.
Take a look. On September 12th, we descended into our local Michael's store. Seeing pumpkins, we squealed with glee, but venturing deeper into the store, we thought, where's Halloween? There were a few vintage Halloween items, and oddly enough, just these spooky tree ornaments. I did think these bats were cute and thought I should make my own version of these ornaments, but in a Lair of Voltaire style, so more realistic and not as goofy. On December 20th, we returned to the same location. Surely by now they'd be fully stocked. We saw the pumpkins again, and incidentally, if you want to make an evil snowman later in the year like I did in my video, How to Make an Evil Snowman, now would be the time to stock up on these. On this visit, we found that the vintage Halloween section had become a bit more dense. And this time there was some creepy signage on display. I will say, I liked these because the keep out is just written on there, so you can paint these black and write whatever message you like. And speaking of DIY, I was coughing up all kinds of grave ideas for what we could make with these. Wouldn't that be fun? Now maybe it's just a bunch of hocus pocus, but we were getting closer to October 31st, and mostly what we were finding was still empty shelves. Which led me to wondering, what's Michael's thinking? On October 27th, we returned again for an epic Halloween haul, but we were met by yoga skeletons. There were items from last year's pastel line that were a welcome sight, and I thought I might be filming an episode here after all. Another item returning from last year was the spooktacular X-ray wall hanging, and they were winging it with this trinket dish from the last couple of years. These are also a variation on an item they've been selling for the past few years, and I guess the lids still don't come off. On the other hand, this one does have a removable lid, and it's the perfect color for my Gothic bathroom, so it's coming home. There were other storage options in the vintage Halloween section, which I think is super cute, but really not my thing. But I did love these busts that reminded me of Disney's Haunted Mansion, which very much is my thing. As you already know, I tend to avoid cauldrons with bright colors and cute slogans, or bat-shaped anything that's sort of cartoony. However, there's nothing wrong with them, and if you love them, buy them and enjoy them, I say. I liked this gravestone, and I think that with a simple repaint, it could be a bit more realistic and more menacing. And while I'm not into green, I just know one of you out there has a lair with a green color scheme who would love this emerald trinket dish. You might even think it rocks. Clearly. Meanwhile, Mayumi was bugging out looking at some spiderweb ribbon. But all in all, I felt that Michaels still didn't have all of their Halloween offerings out. After a couple of months of peeking into Michaels stores every single week, our final trip to a Michaels took place during that glorious weekend when I was on tour in Florida, playing shows in Orlando and Tampa. We did a lot of fun things that weekend.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite thing from that weekend?
Yes.
What's that?
Going to Disney World.
Of course. Are you a Disney goth?
Yes.
Me too. I identify as a Disney villain. In fact, the older I get, the more I liken myself to a Disney villain.
You are a Disney villain.
I like to think so. And how about you?
I'm a Disney princess.
Should have been able to guess that. What about you, Orville? Which Disney character do you most identify with? Oh, right, because Star Wars is Disney now, but you don't really strike me as the Darth Vader type. You're more like dust vapor, my friend. Dust vapor.
I'm Mickey.
Of course you are, you greedy little rat. If you like Disney as much as we do, you're going to want to stay tuned because we shot a couple of episodes at Disney World. One of them is a Halloween home decor hunting at Disney World episode where I show off all of my Haunted Mansion home decor items. And I have some extraordinary pieces. So you're going to want to stick around if you're a Haunted Mansion fan. We also spent an entire day on the Outer Rim at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, Kylo Ren himself invited me to join the dark side. And I accepted. Yep, a goth joins the dark side, go figure. So stay tuned because we are going to be blasting off in the near future into the world of Star Wars. But for the time being, we are going to stay on target. Stay on target, Porkins. We're going to go to Kissimmee, Florida for our final Michaels Halloween haul.
Take a look.
On October 2nd, we entered the Michaels in Kissimmee, Florida. And once again, we were met with half-empty shelves. Where were the Halloween items? I couldn't see them. Where'd they go? I couldn't say. Once again, we saw some items from last year's pastel line, and while these poison bottles are drop-dead gorgeous, they'd be better if you could actually put poison in them. These jars are also from years past, and clearly the lids are not meant to be removed, as proven by the chipped paint. There were in fact quite a few items making a comeback from last year's controversial pastel Halloween line, and for one, I'd call them not completely unwelcome. I noticed this year a new trend of gold crowns on black animals, which I find delightfully regal. And if you like this framed crow print, we might just be birds of a feather. Oh dear, what's this? It seems oddities have found their way into the enchanted forest. All of these half-empty shelves had me wondering if man-eating plants had eaten all of the shoppers, or was it the other way around? Normally at this time of the year, these shelves are filled with buckets of Halloween goodies. I wasn't sure if I should look into the future or the past. Was I too early or too late? On the way out, I found these die-cut shapes that looked miraculously like Christmas ornaments I made last year in an episode called Our Spooky Christmas Tree. So I figured I'd save myself some trouble this year, and I bought them all. A word of warning, I hear a lot of people saying, I'm just going to go to the store on November 1st and buy all of my Halloween home decor at half price. If you can do that, do it! But this is what Michael's Halloween section in Manhattan looked like 2 full weeks before Halloween. Ain't nobody here but us pumpkins. We really didn't have a lot of luck with Michael's this year, did we?
No.
I really am going to blame that on supply chain issues. You know, with factories being closed most of last year and then everybody trying to catch up in a hurry, the disruption of shipping, there being hundreds of ships off the coast of California that have nowhere to dock. I really think that was the problem. Well, our next stop was a store where we had no luck last year. It seemed like every one of the locations we went to, all the shelves were empty, pickings were very slim, and that was Target.
Oh.
Yeah, we're hoping that this year might be better.
Yeah.
Take a look. We arrived at our local Target, and just like last year, we found ourselves saying, where's Halloween? There was only one aisle of Halloween goods, and there wasn't much there, leaving us wondering, was it picked over or understocked? That's where I first saw these fruity monstrosities that Mayumi was vastly cooler with.
Strawberry.
Now here's an item that I would give a whirl. It's black, it's metal, and it's got a crow on it. It's got all things that are good. But overall, our local Target's Halloween section had me thinking, Daddy, Daddy, get me out of here. Well, that was a bust.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to try different locations to have better luck.
That's true.
So we tried a different Target in Manhattan.
Take a look. This Target's Halloween section is typically just below this escalator, so the place to look is right there. Well, we looked and, oh, more empty shelves. Our spirits started to sink. Unluckily, they did have more of those fruity skulls and not much else. It was a Halloween desert, which I guess explains these strange zombie succulents. We did, however, find these creeptastic cauldron mugs. Mayumi took a sip, then gave me the slip. When I found her, she was holding this candy collecting bucket that matched her scarf. I guess you could say she was in the pink. They all stink, dummy. They're dad jokes. That's what I do here. You need to lower your expectations. Well, we went with very low expectations to our third and last Target location in Tribeca. I did get excited when I saw the Halloween section though. That is until I saw these fruity pebbles with no appeal, and I'm definitely not pining for these apples either. They had some cute items held over from last year, but nothing really right for the lair. Then I spotted the kitchen towels. They followed a new trend I pointed out in part 1, where the set includes a featured design on one towel, and then the rest are just sort of filler. Looking behind them, I actually preferred the filler towels to the featured designs. And now that I know that I might prefer the towels in the back, I guess I'll have to keep an eye out for them. Well, I was about to give up the ghost on Target when I spotted this end cap. It said under $48.99, and I was like, it better be under $48.99, which we're at Target. There I spotted this gorgeous tablecloth that was black and white and had all of the right things. It had bats and skulls and crows. It's perfect for the lair. Under some kitschy kitchen towels, Mayumi spotted this treasure, a ceramic serving tray that had all of the same wondrous images. And I was like, yay! And then I was like, boo! And then I was like, yay again! And at that moment, I was sure we had found the best score of this Halloween season. I could have flipped. Next, we spotted these delightful skeletal hand appetizer plates that I'm certain will be very handy to have around the lair. Then, under another kitchen towel, I spotted something magical and said, "What's this? What's this? A tombstone serving tray. What's this? I'm buying it right away. What's this? It's got a scuff on there, but honestly, I just don't care. I need to have this in the lair. What's this?" That's quite a score.
Yes!
And it was right on target. Well, 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 what a surprise. We were expecting Target to be a complete washout this year, and yet they had some of our favorite items of 2021.
Yes.
That tombstone serving tray.
And the cauldron mug.
Cauldron mug was really cute. I have to say, I'm a little bit surprised. I thought you were going to say your favorites were the fruity skulls.
No. They were kind of weird.
They are kind of weird. That's the spirit. And speaking of spirit, the popular pop-up store had risen again like spooky spores throughout our humble hamlet to dive into the yearly grind of being everyone's one-stop shop for evil animated clowns and creatures sure to make horror fans lose their heads. Year after year, Spirit churns out the spooky for millions of smiling customers. But I, of course, became more interested in them ever since this popular chain broke into making haunted home decor. As in years past, Tim Burton fans can dive into Halloween Town for a plethora of Nightmare Before Christmas knickknacks and bric-a-bracs with secrets waiting to be cracked. There's also a Beetlejuice section where it's always showtime for Beetlejuice, 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 or anyone who's strange and unusual. I think this snake was made to scale. That's hilarious. And this gruesome twosome was just tomb cool for ghoul school. Now this is an item I can wrap my brain around. They have added a Haunted Mansion section, which I find really intriguing since I'm a big Haunted Mansion fan. I have an episode coming up where I show off my entire Haunted Mansion collection, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. Their Hocus Pocus line has rematerialized this year with some very interesting pieces, like this cast statuette of the Sanderson sisters casting, or this spellbinding book for, well, binding your spells in. Or perhaps you need a handy towel for when you spill Eye of Newt on your pointy black boot. This one was one of my favorites. Now, I didn't even know this was a Hocus Pocus item until I turned it over and saw it was made by Disney, making this one of the coolest items Disney has ever made. Now, I personally never buy movie paraphernalia because I want my home to look like a real vampire lives there, not like a fan of vampire movies lives there. So I'm most interested in Spirit's home decor items that are not part of a big license, like their Ouija line, which is still going strong, or their tarot line, which has some great items for whatever mystical or witchy theme you want to cook up in your lair. It's all about the spooky items for year-round use for me. Now, they started a line a couple of years ago called Gothic Noir that I still have high hopes for. It's got some really amazing items like these tablecloths. I have them both. This one is definitely one to be raving about. And believe it or not, I use one of their mantle scarves as a belt on stage. I find all of these items to be super useful for year-round use. So I hope they'll continue making that line. I spotted this kitchen towel that I loved. I don't normally do red, though I do like the gray that came with it. I think it's just a matter of time before the lair goes bloody vampire bordello, and this is in that vein. The front's a little Grateful Dead-ish for me, but I love the back enough to make these mine. There were other items in that section perfect for perennial use in any Gothic lair, but I was particularly keen on this one. It's made of metal, which I love. My only complaint is that it's hollow. It's a wall hanging after all. But if it had been cast to look like a real key, that would really have been a treasure. Nonetheless, it's still a wonderful sculpt and an amazing enough piece to unlock my wallet. On the way out, I also picked up some of these bleeding candles to go with all of the money that I bleed this time of year on Halloween decor. There were some very interesting finds at Spirit this year. I do hope, though, that they keep developing that Gothic Noir line because I think it has great potential. Now, our last stop in this Halloween home decor extravaganza is a shop that I know you love. It's a place called Bath and Body Works.
Yes! Halloween there smells so good!
Take a look. Bath and Body Works continues to be your one-stop shop for Halloween fragrances. Halloween fans love their scented candles like Vampire Blood, Haunted Nights, Ghoul Friend, and Pumpkin Carving, almost as much as they love the holders to put them in. This one happened to be my favorite this year. It reminded me of an ornate Victorian gate like you might see at the entrance of a cemetery. So of course, I thought it was just great. The spider one was cool too, if perhaps a bit too glam for me. The crystal skull though, that was a clear winner. This year, the most popular item had to be that bedeviled witch hand pedestal. I went to locations in 5 states and never saw one with mine own eyes, presumably because they were being all snatched up by resellers who sold them for many times the original price online. Or at least, that's the word on the street. Hold my soap. No, seriously, hold my soap in a blingtastic golden skull. While there, I picked up some bath bombs because when you build your own Gothic spa that looks like this, you're gonna need 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 of these. The wallflowers were more colorful than ever this year, which had me saying, "Yo quiero pumpkin smell." Just not with so many colors, but if colorful works for you, I say, dive right in. I prefer more monochromatic items like this octopus candle holder, sure to delight some steampunks out there. But mostly I come here to get my tentacles on the Halloween gels, and you can put those in nifty pocket back holders like this one with spider webs, or a cute kitten ghost or fuzzy tarantula. But of course, I think the best one is the Goblin from the Lair of Voltaire. I might be biased though.
I love the Goblin.
You are very sweet. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the very best Halloween home decor that we found in 2021 at the usual stores. Now I say that as a caveat, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. But first, why don't we do like we did in episode 1, and each one of us choose our one favorite item from this episode?
Yes.
Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. I'll go first.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Of course.
The tombstone serving platter.
Ah, it's beautiful.
It's kind of obvious that this was my favorite. And it was the last thing we found, just about. So that's really incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to show us your favorite item?
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Ta-da!
Oh, the spooky serving platter.
Oh,
also
yeah.
really, really amazing. Well,
And
you
ta-da!
can't choose more than one.
Cauldron mug. Yes, I can. You know, I can't choose just one thing.
All right, well.
And
That too?
Yes. Women.
What's really incredible is that all of our favorite items were from Target, which we had all but completely written off. Which just goes to show that sometimes you just don't know what treasures are out there until the bitter end. You relax. Now, the reason I said these were our favorite items from the usual stores is that we went Halloween home decor hunting in some pretty unusual places this year, and we're really hoping to bring you those episodes soon, including a trip to the sappiest place on earth. Hey, that was my line. Where did you learn to make puns like that? What?